Very good evening to you and welcome to Korero, a platform for big conversation. My name is Godwin Sunday. Well, we have quite a lot of conversation for you tonight, but we'll take a short break right now. When we return, we'll dive into the conversation. Please stay with us. You're welcome back. Now, let's even give you a background for tonight's conversation. Well, the conversation around professionalism in Nigerian security sector has never been more urgent. Nigeria operates one of the largest security workforces in Africa, but the numbers don't match the outcome. The Nigerian police force has an estimated strength of 371,800 officers serving a population of 236.7 million people. Now, that's roughly around one officer to 636 people, well below the United Nations recommended ratio of 1 to 450. Even worse, over 100,000 of those officers are deployed to protect VIPs and politicians, leaving many communities under-policed. Alongside the police, Nigerians' private security industry has become a parallel workforce. As of 2024, over 1,100 licensed firms employ more than 1 million guards, while an estimated 2 million operate informally. Combined with 700,000 government security personnel, the entire sector employs over 40 million Nigerians. Yet, Nigerians still ranks 148 out of 160 countries on the global 2025 Global Peace Index. Professionalism here means more than numbers. It means discipline. It means integrity. It means competence. It means accountability and respect for human rights under the Nigerian Police Act 2020 and the 2026 police regulations. It means training that matches the threat and welfare that reduces corruption and abuse. The stakes are high. Between May 2023 and November 2025, armed groups killed at least 10,217 people, with Benue and Plateau accounting for over 9,500 deaths. In the northeast alone, the Boko Haram ISWAP insurgency has killed over 40,000 people and displaced about 2 million, if the figure is not even more than that, since 2009, I beg your pardon. Now, insecurity is now a direct threat to livelihoods, food security, and the credibility of the 2027 elections. Tonight, we dig into what professionalism actually looks like on the ground. Joining me are Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, a security analyst, and Dr. Mike Ejiofor, a security expert. And we will be examining why Nigerian security architecture is producing quantity without quality, and what reforms in training, accountability, and welfare are needed to even close that gap. Well, Prof. and Dr. Jofo, it's a delight to have you join me on Cobero.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, let me begin with Dr. Ejiofor. The Nigerian Police Act 2020 is the main law governing policing in Nigeria. Right? It replaced the colonial era policing of Act of 1943 and was designed specifically to improve professionalism, accountability, and respect for human rights. However, experts say the act is strong on paper, but implementation lacks. Let's get you react to this. What's your general take on the generality of the Police Act 2020?
Well, I'm glad to be here again, and let me make this correction. I'm not a doctor. I'm just Mike Ejiofor.
Noted.
I'm very impressed, with your station and the analysis you made, in your intro. We have challenges in the country. Nobody is arguing that. Like you said in your intro, United Nations statistics is one policeman to 450,000. 450, I'm sorry. Now, what do we have in Nigeria? Our population is over 200 million. And we have less than 300,000 policemen. Because when you said, you recall that the president, some time ago, ordered the IG to withdraw all the details attached to VIPs. And the IG, to the best of my knowledge, talked about withdrawing 11,000. And former chairman of the Police Service Commission once told us that we have over 120,000 deployed. So has that directive been complied with? The answer, of course, is no. And you're talking of professionalism, the Police Act. How can you be professional when you don't have adequate manpower? You don't have funds for training. The welfare of the police is nothing to write home about. So how do you talk of professionalism goes with training, welfare, and all the likes. The police image is very down. And that's why I must encourage the new Inspector General of Police to look at the conduct of his men, to build confidence. It's only when you build confidence that we now start talking of professionalism. And it's only when you are professional that you can gain the confidence of the people. A situation where human rights are abused, and you look at people, you have no rights, you have no respect for their rights. People are arrested, dumped in the cell without prosecution. The Constitution provides that within 24 hours, where you have courts, you must charge the person to court, or maximum 48 hours. But the situation where you have clear minor cases, simple offenses, people are detained for more than they would have ordinarily served if they were convicted. So professionalism goes with a lot of things. It's good you are talking about it, but the government must also try to professionalize the police, not the police on its own, by training, welfare, accommodation. Go to the barracks. There's nothing to write home about. So you don't expect people working on such difficult conditions to be professional.
Well, Prof, let me bring this to you. In February 2026, the federal government gazetted the Nigerian Police Regulation Amendment under Section 138 of the Police Act 2020. The Minister of Police Affairs, Senator Ibrahim Gaidan, said the regulations are a transformative instrument to strengthen accountability, professionalism, transparency, and citizen-focused policing. The IGP also pledged full implementation. Is this really the case?
Well, that is not the case, because we started from a faulty foundation, which I have been expressing every time. And if these faulty foundations are not reversed, there is no way you are going to get a yielded result. We are only producing papers that are just papers which you cannot implement because there are already circumstances that will make you not to implement them. One, where did the policing start from? What adequate policing procedures are we following? What orientation have they gotten all over time? How have we sensitized our police? What are the issues of training? Because you have to sensitize the people before you start talking of training. Some of them don't even know why they're police officers or policemen. So we must build a foundation where you believe in the organization before you start thinking of confidence. And if you don't believe in an organization, you cannot have confidence in that organization. So who peruse these documents that becomes a regulation or an act or a law? What professional touch has it? What effect has it on the people and the officers you are making these rules for? What is the trust index? Because you can never trust a Nigerian police because you don't believe in him. You don't have confidence in him. So there can never be trust. And when there is no trust, such person cannot protect you. You only take somebody who you trust to protect you. So it watered down to where we are today and how we have improved. We have not improved because we have not followed the police networks. And policing has to follow a police network.
Quite interesting, Prof. Let me come back to Mr. Mike. The Human Rights Association, HRA, in its recent report affirmed that there have been a rise in extortion, extrajudicial killings, and abuse of uniform in the rank and file, even within the Nigerian security architecture in itself. But then, how will you react to this assertion?
Well, it's completely correct because I travel by road. If you travel between Okene and Auji, for instance, you have more than 13 checkpoints. And I ask why. People think it's because of security concerns. I can tell you that all they are busy doing on the road there is extorting money from people, checking particulars. No, this is not what they're supposed to. I was in Enugu State, recently. From Opi, Osuka, to Enugu main town, you not see one single police checkpoint. All you have, minimum of 1 kilometer patrol vehicles mounted with cameras. They don't stop anybody. This is the way to go. This is where we should go. You have seen cases of extrajudicial killings, the one that happened in Delta, where someone, in the full glare of the camera, shot somebody dead because he was accused of having or courier of arms. So all these things boil down to lack of professionalism. If people are professional, for you to use arms, there are rules for using arms. You can only use your arms if your life is in danger or the person is escaping. It must be felony. Is escaping custody for a felony, not just ordinary simple offenses and misdemeanor. But a situation where you see, at times I see policemen at my risk. I challenge them on the road. You say somebody will just call. I say, what are you? Well, am I an armed robber? Why must you cock your gun? Because you're asking questions. And some of them you see accidental discharges. There's nothing like that. Because if you know the rules, the professional rules of engaging, rules of engagement, standard operating procedures, if you don't cock your gun on somebody, anything you don't want to kill, or anybody you don't want to kill, you don't point your gun on that person. So the assertion by Human Rights Association is correct. There are a lot of abuses from the police.
Well, Prof, let me come to you with this question. Critics have said that the Nigerian police force problem started with the institutions that even bring these police officers to the beer. Talking about the outdated nature of the curriculum within the Nigerian police force and also other security personnel. Now, looking at even Nigerian police force, looking at their syllabus, we have the basic police science, operational tactics and training, investigation and intelligence. Then we have the general and citizens study. Critics say that this all program is obsolete. Hence, we're having the kind of policing that we have in the country. But, Prof, what's your position on the general structure of our security institutions in upholding professionalism?
I don't think we have a structure. I don't think we have a structure. Because what we call the structure today, whether in the military, the undercover police, whatever, the covert police and the rest, is what we borrowed from our colonial masters, which is called protective security. And if you borrow protective security, that is why a lot of people refer us to our neighbors, the francophones. You find out that their own was also borrowed, which is called security operational management. And you can see their personnel can stand by the road and blow a whistle, and a policeman, a vehicular person will park his cars to attend to them, because it was operational management. Yeah, it's protective security, but what are you protecting? You must know what you are protecting before you say, this is what I am doing. So the first cadre of police is not protective security. Protective security is the head arms of the security network. And that is where we have gotten it wrong. And we cannot come back to the drawing board where we have to have citizen and human security, business and economic security, come to political security, environmental security, industrial security, productive security, till security and the press down to till we get to protective security. So why will you start from the reverse, protective security? I can tell you for sure we have security men at your gate. Whether they are security com or adequately trained for the subject they are here for. But if one camera is missing here, which they don't know, they cannot identify, they will be arrested. And one policeman must interrogate them. Whether they have never entered the studio one day. They may not even know the entrance to the studio. I don't think in my house where I live, I don't think the security man knows my room or have ever entered my room. But if something is missing today and I report for that, they will be invited for interrogation. What are you interrogating? And why are you interrogating them? Do they have access? Do they take inventory of what is in the premises?
In essence, Prof, you're saying that the curriculum within the security structure and their institution has overstayed its welcome.
Very, very much.
So we're still using the pre-colonial times or the colonial
that is why I said
blueprints.
If you ask any police person now, the first thing they will tell you is protecting life and property. So whose life are you protecting? What property are you protecting?
Well, Mr. Mike, let me come back to you. You spoke about the Efuru incident where a police officer decided to go the route of the extrajudicial killing. Of course, not just the Efuru, that of the delivery rider, but we also have a situation also even in Abuja where we have Abdul Samad Jamil, the core member that was also killed in Dede. Not also forgetting Timothy Daniel, the young man in the Kodabasi that's also, just this year alone, we've recorded about 18 extrajudicial killing so far. But from 2020 till date, the number keeps rising, about 300 plus right now. But again, let's speak to the issues. Now, the whole incident, which is still very, very in our hands, is still very current. Is it a training gap that we're having right now, or intelligence gathering or coordination among security agencies that would have led to such an incident where a security officer will open arm on a civilian, on unarmed civilian in that instance?
That's the topic of our discussion, professionalism. Some people will go to the police college and pass out. For 10, 15 years, they have not gone for any refresher training. They've not gone for any course. And if you see people guarding dignitaries, they are supposed to be exposed to constant training on weapon handling. The SSS, for instance, which is statutorily charged with VIP protection, the dignitaries are subjected to constant training, especially in terms of arms handling. But how many of them? And you don't blame the police authorities. You don't have the means, the fund for such training. And that is why, if you don't continue repeating something, it becomes part of you. You go off the track.
Why you say you don't have the funds? I understand that even in this year's budget, about 5.1 trillion naira is allocated directly to the defense.
Let's not go there.
No, let's touch that angle.
Now, let me tell you. This year, 2026, is the largest budgetary allocation we have had for defense and security. You're also aware that recently a report was made that 7% only of such funds, budgetary allocations, were released for defense and security. So it's not enough for you to make such budgets without commensurate matching of release of funds. So it becomes very difficult. When you say you are budgeted, okay, we are running 3 concurrent budgets at the same time. Where is it done? Where is it done? You are operating 2024, 25, 26 at the same time, and the funds are not released. But people are concerned because security is the primary purpose of government. Without security, there is nothing anyone can do. So otherwise, if you look at other subsectors, agriculture, is it agriculture, is it power, energy, all of them, things are not working well. And politicians are not ready to look into our security. They are busy campaigning and playing politics. But they've forgotten that without Nigeria, there won't be any place for them to play their politics.
Well, interesting times. Let's look at Prof. Let me bring this to you. Looking at the budget for defense, you want to quickly react to the budget in terms of its implementation. Could this be the reason why professionalism has been stalled so far in the country?
I don't think the issue of the budget we are talking of is something of this year or last year or so. So all this year is what has happened. We didn't have insecurity challenges just this year or last year or 2 years ago. But my own insight is this. If we are saying that the security organizations are relying on the federal government to give them allocations, then we are making a mistake. Because in most of the public indices, Nigerian security organization can generate 150 trillion naira. So why are you relying on the budget? Why are we not thinking out of the box? Are the security comms surviving without budget? We don't want to secure Nigeria. They are not professionals. They are not trained. They don't have the techniques. They don't have the technology. So they should excuse themselves why people will come in. Before the British security and policing settle become what it is, they have to bring Smith, who was just a professional, to adequately bring the policing to what it is, or the security to what it is today. And the security organizations in Britain generate their own funds. I have not seen a situation in Nigeria why, after my studies in Nigeria, that the security organization cannot generate 150 trillion. And if the the act or the constitution has said that if you generate, you can take 30% of what you generated. If that is true and it's implementable, that means you have 30-something trillion on your palm. About 35 trillion on your palm. So you can do whatever you want to do. That is when policing becomes, because security is a very big market in the world. Most countries survive on what security generated. They are not ready to tell you. And it is bigger than oil and gas. We are not ready to exploit it because we are ready to fall back. And that is why we have VIPs this thing. I won't give any governor or any senator security protection. For what? If you know you won an election, go back to your contours. How many senators in America goes with security protections? How many? How many governors goes with? So it's not a terrain. We are discussing we are looking for a solution, and we have to go into what will bring solutions to us.
Well, Prof, let me come to Mr. Mike. A lot of Nigerians are asking at this point, at what point should a security personnel batter a citizen? At what point? Because we've seen a lot of unprofessional conduct even on the screen. Just recently, we've seen viral videos of all of. So you are within you're a security expert. At what point should the security personnel manhandle or hit or batter a citizen?
There's no point. At no point would that happen. Except when you are going for arrest and arrest is resisted. When you can use maximum force or minimum force to effect such arrest. But unnecessary battering of members of the public should not be tolerated anywhere. You know, reference to what Prof said about generation of funds by the police, who have what is called police reward fund. But that means some money generated are paid into police reward fund. That if any policeman dies or a policeman carries an act of bravery, you reward such person from such funds. Does it still exist? When I joined the police, we had police reward fund. But who knows if it exists now, it exists on paper or in the pockets of the authorities. That is, the Constitution has not provided that the police should generate funds, but it's an idea that can be sold to government, that police should generate funds and become self-sustaining.
Could extortion also mean a major way of generating funds?
No. See, like provision of security to the banks, oil companies, they pay money, they pay. But where do such money go to? They go into private pockets of police top hierarchy. And that means corruption. But if it is institutionalized, that such monies are paid and percentage given out, it should be passed into law. The police cannot on its own just take such a unilateral decision.
Well, it's very, very worrisome when we look at all of this, because the way at which Nigerian police sometimes stop people on the road and all of those conversations, which a lot of Nigerians are turning a blind eye to, and that become like a norm in the country where you tend to go that route. But let's even move away from that conversation and look at the whole conversations around the professionalism of the Nigerian police force. Again, there's been speculation. Prof, let's bring this to you. There's been speculation that the police force are not being motivated enough. And this is one of the things that is also affecting their morale and upholding their professionalism. And that's why what we see even on the street. Let's speak to the issues around the morale of the Nigerian police force. Are they well motivated?
It's not an issue of motivation. I asked to be engaged. That means I am dutiful to take responsibility for what it is. So if I'm dutiful to take responsibility of what it is, what is the other man taking responsibility about? If you are a civil servant on level 4, are you looking at somebody to come and extort to remain relevant in your office? So if you are also a constable in the police, did you actually love the job? What is the scrutiny? Do we scrutinize these people before engaging them? In what environment did they come up with? One certain time I was discussing with a very tough police officer, and I was saying that you could eradicate what it is taking place now if only you can train the security officers and men on emotional intelligence and anger management. None of them knows any atom of has ever had any training on emotional intelligence and anger management. Unless these are inculcated into their mindset, what we are seeing as extrajudicial killing and the rest will repeat itself. Because you are leaving your house, maybe with act of provocation from the home base, and you are taking that to your duty post, and you are armed. And before you know, you can transfer an aggression. But somebody who has been trained on emotional intelligence will also not do it. He will not do it because he knows what it takes. Then are they trained on anger management because they are interacting with the public every day? So at what point have you actually been? You know me for some time now. You know I never go angry.
Prof, even before I let you continue with that thought, let me even take you back a bit. You spoke about the whole issue about generating fund. Now that conversation is already generating controversies. Now one of the controversies is generating right now is the public, members of the public are asking at this point, how can the Nigerian police generate? You cited about 1 trillion naira. How can Nigerian police?
I said 150 trillion.
150 trillion. Wow, quite
Yes.
interesting. How can Nigerian police force generate such, even looking at all of the way it is right now?
How many by Federal Road Safety Commission, and the record of the vehicle inspection unit of which we call the VIOs, inspection officers office, you find out that we have over 50 million vehicles in Nigeria. And if you have 15 million vehicles, who is protecting these vehicles? If they are stolen, we'll look for the vehicles. If somebody is paying peanuts every month for these vehicles, how much will Nigeria generate?
Well,
now, I'm just using an example. I'm not going to other areas.
Well, let's leave that to be. Now, Mr. Mike, you also spoke about the trust fund. When you joined the Nigerian police, of course, there was a trust fund. But then, what is the value or use of the police trust fund?
No, we're talking about police reward.
Reward fund, yeah.
Police reward fund. It's different from police trust fund.
Okay.
Because a police reward fund, monies out of bravery and all this are contributed so that policemen who either die in service or have carried out acts of bravery are rewarded from that fund. But I'm not sure it exists. I want to be proved wrong by the police. Such thing motivates people and encourages professionalism. You see in some occasions where policemen are rewarded for acts of bravery or promoted. So such things encourage professionalism. And we will continue to talk about, the welfare of the police. Police have been agitating for the removal from the PENCOM, you can see a retired commissioner of police taking as less as 100 or 200,000 naira a month. So how do you encourage it? So it encourages corruption. But if you have people that, at least when you retire comfortably and get your salary or pension that is reasonable. Housing schemes, for instance. If you provide all this, it's the same problem we are facing in Nigeria. If government can provide accommodation for civil servants, free medical services, education for the corruption would go down by more than 50%. The same thing in the police. But because government is not providing this, people go to use help to achieve what they want to achieve, saving corrupt money from corrupt practices, so that when they retire, they'll be comfortable. So it's a problem that government has to take the issue of professionalism, welfare, and training of the police very seriously, because police remains the single organ in charge of maintenance of internal security. We must have that at the back of our mind.
Well, Mr. Mike, you're not talking about police. You've always agitated and also spoken that you've been a strong advocate of state policing.
Oh, sure.
But then, looking at Nigeria as it stands today, are we ready for that conversation?
Very much ready. And I can tell you, the president has bought into it. The National Assembly has bought into it. The governors have bought into it. So what's holding us? Only 2 days ago, if you remember, the president called on the National Assembly to fast-track the establishment of the state police. That's the only way to go. People are talking about abuse of state police, and I ask, is the Nigerian police not being abused? Should we throw away the baby with the bathwater? Politics is local. Security challenges are local. Solutions to our security challenges are local. And you don't bring somebody from Maiduguri to Bayelsa that has not seen water before and expect him to perform. You have cultural differences, religious differences, and all the world. But if you have state police that can be controlled by the governor, they are very used to it. Look at the Amotekun.
But Mr. Mike, you agree also that you agree also there has been allegations of selections, VIPs submitting names of individuals during recruitment process. Won't this further mar the whole state policing and further will be hijacked by the state apparatus
now,
if it's allowed to fly?
Now, we take Edo State example, for instance. In recruitment of the vigilante forces, they are recommended from the community, sent to the police, divisional police, for vetting and scrutiny, sent to the local government. Before you pass all this through the stages, you must have waited. I'm not saying it cannot be abused. There's no law, otherwise there won't be law. If the abuse is, that's why there's law. If there's any abuse, well, haven't you seen the National Assembly members posing with people they recruited into the police? Is that state police? And at the end of the day, they are posted to them as details. Are they serving the purpose of which they were recruited? So I don't buy that idea of saying that state police will be abused, as if Nigerian police. Is there anything in this country that is not abused?
I think Prof want to quickly react to the state policing. Are we ready for the conversation, Prof?
We are not ready. It's just like somebody who have not been to primary school, secondary school, and is in the university. I don't know how that is going to count out.
All right.
Because on the policing network, state policing is not the first chapter of policing network. We have the grassroots policing. And then we come back to neighborhood policing. Then we come to community policing before we come to state policing, then national policing, then global policing, then policing the police. In our own trajectory, we left grassroots policing, neighborhood policing, and we came to community policing. Now they are advocating for state policing. And we have not even gone anywhere because we have not started from the beginning, which is supposed to be grassroots policing.
But, Prof,
Then coming to
I
neighborhood
think you're not
policing.
looking at it from the merit of it. The whole state
It's
policing.
not a merit.
No,
Yeah,
looking at it from the merit. Most of the police officers that deploy to communities, they don't even have a formal understanding of that community. You don't think looking at it from the merit of it will further...
I'm coming. If you as we said, we started with a foundation that was 40 during Tafa Balogu when he introduced community policing. Because it's supposed to start with grassroots policing, then come to neighborhood policing before community policing. Now we are jumping the guns to another state policing, so we are leaving a position of complexity down to more complex issues. That is why we are debating it. We are not saying state policing is not good. It is good, it's an advancement, but let's go back to where we know that we take records, we have data, we have templates. In those days, a policeman comes to a village and said, we are looking for Mr. Sampson. They said one of his sons did this. They would say, no, that boy cannot do it. Or that boy, no, he can do it. It was very simple.
Well, Prof, that's the merit of a state police and the community policing.
No, that is going back to grassroots policing. That is going back to grassroots policing.
You think at this point that if we have a state policing structure, it will not narrow down to the grassroots?
It will not.
So we should start from
it will not narrow down.
We should start from the local government policing. Then let it ascend.
No, it will not narrow down. You know why it's not going to narrow down? Because I'm playing a political players. Remember, we don't have parties in Nigeria. We have platforms.
Well, it's quite
so when you go back to political security, you find out that what they are advocating for is not going to work for us.
Well,
we have to get from one tradit to another tradit.
Let's allow Mr. Mike.
What Prof is saying, we are saying the same thing in different ways. We are talking of grassroots. Where is the grassroots policing drawn from? It's not from the communities, from the grassroots. And who are going to be the members of the state police? The same grassroots and community. These people know. In fact, it becomes easier for recruitment because they know the criminals. When you see a criminal recruited, this man recruited into the police, people will resent. People will resent it. But they know the people, they know the criminals, they know the... But a situation where you see people in the Nigerian police, they've received only one training. They don't know the environment, no refresher courses. And they come to be deployed in a community where they don't even understand the language. The religion is different, culture is different. How do you build the confidence of giving the people information?
Well, our time is fast spent, but Mr. Mike, just to pick from your thoughts at that point, at this point, should we completely overhaul the Nigerian policing?
Yeah, I agree with the situation. Like I've said, the federal government is made up its mind on creation of state police. It must be created for us to move forward. And the Nigerian police must be restructured. I believe, if you remember, under Babangida, where the rank and file of the police were deployed to the various geopolitical zones. So that will complement the state police. Because they all know, the top officers, the commanders, can be from different zones. But the operatives, rank and file of the police, must be from the same geopolitical zone. They are still in the Nigerian police. And don't forget that there are different crimes. There are some that fall under the state police. There are some that they don't have powers to prosecute. those ones are transferred to the Nigerian police. They should work hand in hand. It's not that if you create a state police, they are autonomous, they are independent of their own, operating without the Nigerian police.
Or would this further boost professionalism?
Oh, sure.
Even
sure,
within the
sure,
policing system?
Sure.
Well, Prof, you want to quickly react to this because I see you keep nodding and keep disagreeing even on some of these.
No, it's not as if I fully disagree, but we, just as I said earlier, state policing, okay, but from what?
Well, if it will facilitate and accelerate professionalism within the Nigerian police force, you think that this is not the right step in the right direction?
No, for now, I don't think we are matured for it.
Even though it's going to boost professionalism?
It's not going to boost professionalism because the state still depends on the federal. Well, all the allocation the states are getting are from the federal. Well, it's only when the states are independent of their own.
I believe the federal government might have a better modality, better arrangement.
It suits them, but I don't think it's going to assist us.
But again, finally, you recall that most of the state governments even fund the Nigerian police and other federal security agencies.
Under security votes?
Yes. Because the federal government cannot provide for such security architecture. So why don't you let them own their own security? We're practicing true federalism, and we must practice true federalism.
I will ask a question. A federalism where you are depending on the central is not a federalism.
So you're saying it's a unitary system that is masking federalism?
Yeah, we are just misusing the words because we are still using an American system of government. But what I'm saying, every governor line up here to come and collect allocations every month. And that is not true federalism.
Well, Prof, it's quite a very bogus conversation looking at state policing. But then let's even look at professionalism as we begin to wrap up. Looking ahead, Mr. Mike, what step should the federal government take to ensure that we promote accountability within the security sector right now? Because we keep hearing the IG every now and then coming out to say, promise to punish and fish out bad eggs from the police force. And of course, these bad eggs, little or none of them is being fished out. In this situation, what should the federal government be doing to promote accountability?
Well, federal government should, as a matter of urgency, restructure, like I've said before, the Nigerian police. The Nigerian police is too centralized for effectiveness. It should also increase funding for the police. The National Assembly should carry out its oversight functions of looking at the budget of the police, whether it's being implemented or commensurate releases are made. Otherwise, if you make bogus budget without backing it financially, it's useless. There's nothing you are achieving. The welfare of the police, training, purchase of equipment must take priority.
Well, Prof, in terms of security infrastructure and technological supply, what would be your advice to the federal government at this point in time?
Oh, if we want to go there, we have to look at so many major players, because the major players is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Is the security thread going through the executive? Is it going through the judiciary? And is it going through the legislation? The truth is that no. The rules and the laws they are making, it is only in Nigeria we have we don't have what we call security laws, because nobody in the National Assembly or even the parties to it has any atom of security knowledge to develop security laws for Nigeria. Two, the judiciary, it is, you go to EFCC can drag you to court. Even undercover police, like the SSS, drag people to court. So the police takes you to court. And you know the funny thing? The funny thing is that the police taking you to court will say Commissioner of Police versus. so person. Inspector General of Police versus this person. This is not done anywhere in the world. Because he never investigated the case, he doesn't know the true meaning of the case, and that is why we have a lot of cases where garnishing in Nigeria alone has taken some trillions of naira away from us.
Prof,
so you have to look into this.
I wish we really have time to dissect some of these issues tonight, because the issues keep evolving, even within professional space and the Nigerian security personnel. But so this is what I want to say. Thank you so much, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, for finding out time to be with us here on Corero.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, Mr. Mike Ejiofor, for being with us here on Corero.
Thank you, Lord.
Well, viewers, this is how far we can go tonight on the show. Do not forget that you can leave your thoughts, you can leave your comments on our various social media handle currently showing on your screen. And you can also download the RapidTV app from your Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. My name is Godwin Sunday. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. To enjoy the rest of your night rest. Bye for now.